Welcome to the SIWIKE podcast, the only podcast that shares the stuff you didn't know you needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. The SIWIKE podcast, the stuff I wish I knew earlier.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast that shares what you didn't know you even needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. I'm your host, Lukey, and I'm here to bring you a little bit of a discussion on the FIA, the FIA, the focus-inspired approach. I thought long and hard in terms of the first topic that I'd want in terms of my podcast, and to walk you through the approach and how I coach folks seem like the good foundation and base. So for me, FIA, some sort of made-up name, the focus-inspired approach is really just a three-step process, right? It's a simple what, why, and then how. So if you were to work with me, then what I would do is basically learn a little bit more background and context and get to know you, just build some rapport with you, and really try to uncover some of the foundations and basis of who you are. And then one of the first questions that I would probably ask you is, what do you want? You might think that that's a pretty obvious question, but a lot of folks actually haven't really thought about it as much as they could and should. When they go through life, they're on what I call the conveyor belt of life, right? So you are expected to go to school, graduate and get some sort of degree, and then get a job in your field of study. Then you're expected to get promoted, maybe get married, have some kids, and then move into a house, and then retire, and then everything is a great life. Now, if you've taken a look at careers and trajectories up and coming, it's unlikely that someone is going to stay in the same job, let alone say the same career for the next 40 plus years of their life. So if you graduate kind of 22 and you retire at 65, then that's over 40 years of work that you'll be doing. So to have the expectation that someone is going to be doing the one same thing, well, that's probably unreasonable, at least in this day and age. Myself, for example, I've already done kind of three things. So I was a computer scientist, I was a management consultant, and now I'm an educator. And that was within the first, call it 15 odd years of my career. And who knows what the next 25 or more are going to have in store for me. And I don't actually have an intention to retire in the classic sense in the world. I do hope to keep working. There is the cliche proverb of, if you do something that you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. And I've been blessed where I feel that I've been able to do a lot of things that I really enjoy. So not all of it, but at least some of it. So thinking about really, what is it that you want? And the operative word is you, right? Because sometimes you are expected by your mom and dad, your culture, or whatever. And the typical one is the kind of deal or no deal, which is the doctor, engineer, accountant, and lawyer. And for many of those cultures, if you're not one of those four, then you're kind of a second-class citizen, so to speak. But in this day and age, there are more options, right? A credible career can be so many different things, and people are actually doing the stuff that they love and turning it into a career path. Now, if you love taking care of people from a healthcare perspective, or building and creating things from an engineering perspective, or helping out with business on the accounting side, or helping others from a legal perspective, then by all means do that. But one thing that you may want to explore is that you may not have to do that for 40 years at a time. So why not be a doctor and an engineer and an accountant and a lawyer? Man, imagine what kind of crazy accomplishments that sort of person would have. And the other question is, well, why are you limiting yourself? Why are you picking to only be one? So whatever it is that you want, thinking about it in terms of the context of your broader career and unlocking your potential and not limiting yourself. Because sometimes we have this aspiration of what life should be, and should is not a great word. So if you kind of unlock and say, okay, what is it that you want? And we'll get into some future exercises on each of them. But first of all, think about what you want. And then once you know what you want, the next step is why. And for those that had trouble with what, then why can be a little bit more interesting. So why do you want to be that doctor, the accountant, lawyer, engineer, or the artist, or the whatever it is that you decide to become? Getting down into the depths of and the core of yourself to say, why do you really want it? Is it you that wants it? Is it mom and dad that wants it? Is it your culture, your aunt or uncle, your brother, sister? Why is it that you want it? And if we can get to that core, then oftentimes then you'll have that purpose and drive and fulfillment that kind of pushes you forward. And then once you have those two, the what and the why, then you'll find that the how kind of works its way out. With that why, then that kind of spurs you to, how can I actually find this? But we can help equip you with certain toolkits in order to help get past things like limiting beliefs, because oftentimes people don't know those two because of fear. They're afraid. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of judgment. And some things, sometimes people are actually afraid of success. So that's one of those interesting things that is up and coming. So that is the focus-inspired approach, figuring out what you want, why you want it, and how you want it. And we'll use that as a fundamental basis for some of the other insights that I share. So tune in next time for more information on the stuff I wish I knew earlier and the stuff you didn't know you even needed to know about jobs, career, and life. Take care and see you next time. Thanks for joining us on the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you found this podcast. And if you can give us a review, that would be very appreciated. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn at Lukidanu, LUKIDANU, and the same on most social media platforms. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.